Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a common chainsaw problem that is a bar oil leak. You can see from this piece of cardboard that I had the saw sitting on overnight that this one's got a pretty good leak. Now this is not uncommon for a Husqvarna 4 series saw to develop this kind of leak, and I'll show you in this video just what needs to be done to fix it. There's a couple of specialty tools that'd be nice to have, but they're not needed. So the first thing we're going to do here is get the bar and chain out of our way. And we want to take a little bit of a closer look and see where this oil is coming from. You can see that it's wet down below this metal plate, and it looks like the oil's coming from behind that plate. So the first thing we're going to have to do is take the clutch off. Now I do have a special tool for doing this, and you can buy one from your Husqvarna dealer. Or you can take a hammer and a punch and spin the clutch off. Now I want you to pay attention to this oiler worm gear. Notice how tight it is on the crankshaft. That's not good. I mean, if the crankshaft is turning that oiler gear, then it's turning the clutch drum, and if it's turning the clutch drum, then the chain is dragging at idle. So later on in the video I'll show you how we fix that without having to buy any parts. So in this particular saw, there's only one screw holding this metal plate on, and sure enough, behind the plate it's full of debris. Now normally the pump doesn't stick to the plate like that. It belongs right down there. I'll put it back in place so you can see where it lives. Yeah, that was pretty dirty.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
But we got her all cleaned up, and you'll see that I sprayed a little bit of carb cleaner on a Q-tip, and I'm cleaning up the feed hole from the oil tank. And the reason we're going to clean that up is because I'm going to glue the oil hose right in place. Now I've tried using silicone sealant, you know, Durco and all the brands of RTV sealant. But you know what works the best is super glue. So we're going to put some super glue on this rubber hose, and we're going to glue it in place. Good luck to the next guy who's got to take it apart, right? So in all the time that I've been gluing these hoses in, only once have I been the next guy, and it wasn't really that bad. The thing was still glued in place, you know, years after the repair, and it wasn't leaking. And it took a little bit to clean it up, but no big deal. We got her. So I put a new oil hose on, and I probably should have put some grease on the end of that pump pinion before I set it in place, but I forgot. So we'll put the grease on now, and you'll see where that pump pinion rides on a pin. And I should just comment that that pin is just pushed in there. They're not always tight. I've had those pins just fall out while I was turning the saw over. So be aware of that. Then we're going to put a little bit of grease on the gears of the pump as well, and a little bit on the end of the crankshaft. So now our tin plate can go back in place. That plate holds the hose in place, along with pressure from the bar being tightened onto the studs. There's your oil hose part number if you need it. So we'll get this tin piece in place, and then we'll take a look at our oiler worm gear. There's a little hunk of crap in there I had to dig out. Let's go! So we're just going to blow the debris off of this gear. And I like to put a little grease right on the worm gear there. They call it a gear. They got a wire band on it now that acts as a gear. Now, you may notice, look how hard that thing turns. And I don't remember if I said it in the beginning of the video, but when that is dragging on the crankshaft, it's dragging the clutch drum. And when it's dragging the clutch drum, it's turning the chain. The saw might not want to idle. The chain might be turning while you're pulling on the rope and making it hard to start. So we're gonna clean the grease back off of it that I put on there, and we're gonna clean that up a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about chucking it up in the lathe and boring it out or anything like that. You know, there's just a little bit of crap in there, or wear, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some kind of residue left over from whatever it was lubricated with. But we're going to take a little sanding drum and just clean it out. Now, I should caution you that you probably should be wearing gloves when you do this. And you'll see in a second here why I say that. Now, I clean it a little bit. I'm going to test fit it. No, it's still a little bit snug. So we're going to clean it out some more. And, yeah, kind of snapped in my hand there. It's just lucky there wasn't any sharp edges or burr on it, so I might have gotten an owie.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Anyway, we've got our oiler pinion or worm gear or whatever you want to call it. We got it cleaned up now. And I'll re-grease it and we'll slide it back onto the end of the crankshaft. You see how nice and easy that thing spins on there now? I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the clutch bearing as well. And then if you look close at that oiler worm gear, there's kind of like two raised sections that are 180 degrees from each other. And they line up with two notches in that clutch drum. And you're going to want to make sure that those two notches are lined up on there before you spin the clutch on and force it against that oiler pinion or worm gear, or you could damage it. You know, so that's really all I got for you on the Husky 435 oil leak. Thanks for watching. Later.